What's good? What's good? Facebook and IG, bro. It has been a while since I've done any kind of lives. What's up? Facebook just got connected. IG's been rocking and rolling. Listen, can y'all do me one favor before we even get started? If you're tapping in and you're watching this live, I appreciate you. And if you're catching this on the replay, can you comment in the actual chat box replay? So if you're watching this on a replay, you're seeing this at a couple hours later or later tomorrow or next week or whenever it is, can you comment replay? But if you're tapped in live with me right now, what's up, Davin? I see you on here. Now, DM, you know what it is. Much love, my brother. But I'm excited just because I just got out of a coaching session a couple hours ago, and I was just like, just mind blown about the language it is that I have for something it is that I know I've personally been going through. So I wanted to take the time to, somebody said, where do I get the legacy poster? My wife made that. So anybody looking for any custom art in your crib, you can definitely hit up my wife. She's incredible. But I was in a coaching session earlier and I heard some knowledge, some information that like I already kind of knew, I've already had a piece of before, but it just gave me another level of clarity in this space specifically. And I wanted to just go in and really just create an opportunity to share something that I've been going through, and hopefully and potentially somebody else might be going through the same thing. So for one, I remember in 2017, this is what, 5 years ago now, Jesus, I was listening to a podcast by John Maxwell. Anybody knows John Maxwell? Anybody fan of John Maxwell? Comment Maxwell in the chat. That's one of my favorite personal development mentors in the space. But this was like an old lesson that he had, and he was talking about the greatest waste of time. And he said that the greatest, and this is in 2017, I'm hearing this for the very first time. And he said that and the greatest waste of time is looking for something it is that you lost, meaning that you have something in your possession, you lost it, and now you have to spend time looking for whatever that thing actually is or whatever that thing may be. What up, Morel? I see you on here. What's going on, family? Appreciate you. But it's like looking at that thing or looking for that thing it is that you lost. And when you think about it, then what's the most valuable possession it is that we all have? What's the most valuable thing it is that we all own? And that is our time. So let's say I spend my time reading a book, or I spend my time going to a webinar or going to a seminar or having a one-on-one meeting with a mentor or hopping on some kind of a learning call or whatever. And I spend that time doing so, but then I don't actually like internalize, not necessarily internalize that information, but I don't even put that information anywhere. And I know for me, when I first got started in network marketing, we always hear like, oh, okay, note takers are money makers. Or now I have a mentor who says that note takers are move makers. However it is, whatever your terminology for it is, there was so much emphasis on the notes, but what there was not emphasis on is what I learned about today, which is called an information system. And I'm like, what does that actually mean? Having an information management system. And that's to know when I bring in or when I have new, for me as somebody who it is, I know I've been called to communicate with people. I know I've been called to have conversations with people, share information, do presentations, those kind of things. Information management is nothing like I've never thought about it in that aspect. I've even had moments where it's like, okay, I've taken notes. Like I went to a men's conference earlier this year and I got a notebook and I took all my notes from the conference in this notebook. But I know Dante personally, I'm a lefty. I have terrible handwriting. Anybody else in the chat got bad handwriting? If you got bad handwriting, I don't know if it's just a thing for lefties. I don't know if it's like I don't know what it is, but I have terrible handwriting. My dad got terrible handwriting, so I feel like I just got it from him. So if you got bad handwriting, shout out to you. So for me, a part of my own information management system is to not take notes. And again, some people, and again, it's even a fact that taking notes with your hand is more effective as far as remembering the information or allowing it to immediately internalize. But I know for me and my style and how it is that I operate, that I need to have notes in some form of electronic, so that way it's not all relying on my handwriting, because I know I have a hard time reading my handwriting. So especially somebody else would. And to think, has anybody else ever like learned anything or read something in a book or heard something on a podcast, and then 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, like you feel like that I committed that thing to memory because when I first heard it, it was so powerful or it was so impactful. Like I read a book and something sticks out to me. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna remember this forever. And then my kids is crying and my wife asked me for something and something else going on. And just one day later, I already forgot whatever it is that I read. And the piece of that I think is most important though is not just being like, okay, well, I'm gonna take notes or I'm gonna put it in a journal. It's having some kind of a system to be able to back or to be able to know as a go-to, because now when I get those ideas or when I get those what some will call a revelation, or when I have those God ideas, or when I have or somebody tells me or teaches me something that I never heard before, I have a system in place to where I can now be able to go back to that information when I need it. Dr. Darius always says that information is like medicine. You don't need it all the time, but when it is that you do need it, you need to know exactly where it is to find it. And I have struggled with that personally as somebody who's been called to communicate. And one of the massive things that I think that I got out of this is recognizing that the difference is in the details. For anybody here who is also a communicator, where I work with a lot of different entrepreneurs, people that have been in all different types of leadership spaces, knowing, okay, well, I listen to even people who go to church weekly. It's like I listened to that sermon, I got a lot of value of it, but 3 days later in the week, when it's like I forgot that one example, I forgot that one point that actually I need in this moment to be able to apply, and you don't have the ability to apply it because there's no system behind the information it is that you're bringing in. So for me, it helps me a lot to be able to put these things and put these places and make them systemize how it is that I'm going to be able to manage my information. So for me, I use Google Docs and I use my notes on my phone and a mix between the two. So basically now when I'm out, or even if I'm on a plane and something, I get a great idea. Like I'm a random person, I get ideas all the time about like crazy stuff. Like literally God will just deposit something on me. I'll be doing something that has nothing to do with the idea, and I'm like ignorant enough to believe that I have the skill or I have the natural ability to just remember. Has anybody ever done that before? You got a piece of information, and because it was so powerful in the moment, you felt like that I had the ability to just remember it. I'm going to commit this thing to memory. That is an amateur's move, and I've done it many a times. And now, even just hearing this in 2022, just gotten out of that coaching session about this specifically, but also knowing that in 2017, I heard this Maxwell training talking about the greatest thing it is that we can lose is our time looking for things that are lost. Makes me feel like I wasted a lot of time between 2017 and 2022, not necessarily remembering all the details of the trainings that I've been to, or I've been to a lot of seminars, I've read a lot of books, I've had a lot of coaching calls to where I did get some value. I took notes on some things, but not in an organized manner to where I know I can go back to a learning lunch that I had with this mentor in 2018 and say, okay, well, I got these 5 things out of this conversation with this person. I don't have it that organized. But a couple of months ago, I made a commitment to myself like, hey, listen, every book I'm reading, every sermon that I go and watch and attend, every podcast I listen to, I have a spot for that now in my notes of knowing, okay, I'm going to be able to put whatever information I get out of this into this specific spot. So then in a month, 2 months, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, it doesn't matter. I know exactly where it is to go to be able to go and find it. And I don't know if that is anybody else, but that has helped me massively. And this is just a couple of months ago. So when I was in this coaching session today, giving me the language of information management system, I was like, yeah, you know what? I feel like I need to share this because I can't be the only person who's ever experienced this. And if you have, comment below if you've ever remembered something, or you've learned something, or got a wisdom update, or even just a good idea. Like you got a good idea in the middle of doing something, but 2, 3, 4, 5 days later you forgot it because you never put it somewhere where you can actually go back to it. Even if you write it on a random piece of paper, in a year you might lose the random piece of paper. So where is it that you have that information or that system in place for you? I'm grateful. I appreciate everybody hopping on the live today. I'll even give you just some more game from it. There's four keys to be able to tightening up your own information management system. One is put yourself in a position to receive new information. Like receiving is massively important, because even though I didn't necessarily get every single piece or write every single thing down it is that I've learned, being in environments where I can learn, or opening books, reading books, listening to podcasts, doing those things has, at least at the bare minimum, put me in a position to where it is that I can receive and be able to grow. And from that point, I need to be able to retain. So what is my strategy to retain information? That's the question I have for you today. What is your strategy? And for you guys who have different apps and different programs it is that you use to be able to help you, can you share them with a brother? Like, let me know any ideas or any things it is that you do or you use in your own personal information management system that can give out some value, because it's something I struggled with for a while, but I made a recommitment or a new commitment to just doing better a couple of months ago with the content it is that I'm taking in, because I look at it totally different. It's like, I don't have the time to learn something, and then when I need it, got to go hunt it down again. personally, I don't have the time to do that anymore. So as opposed to trying to commit all of the good ideas, God ideas, things it is I've learned, nuggets that I've gotten from a conversation, nuggets that I picked up from a sermon, whatever it is, as opposed to thinking that I have the ability to commit that to memory, I acknowledge that that is foolish and it is childish, and that I need to be able to put them into, I have systems for business. I have systems for even date nights. I have systems for how it is we're going to raise our kids. I have systems for so many things in place, but I never actually had an information management system to where the content and the nuggets and the value and the things it is I learned from me intentionally wanting to grow, I have them put into a specific place that then I can go and have the ability to retrieve it when I need it. And that's what matters the most, is when the actual time is for me. Because it's one thing for me to say to somebody, hey, when you watch TV or when you watch Netflix, you're teaching yourself the things it is. You're teaching yourself how to like you're just basically teaching yourself whatever it is that they want to actually show you. So you're training your body on whatever it is that you're actually watching, as opposed to saying whatever entertains you trains you. Like having that detail of that specific of that one liner and having that in my conversation as a communicator is so much more valuable than me giving somebody an elongated response that doesn't hit as hard. Another example is like saying like, okay, well, when you hear new information, it should change something in your physical life. The better way, or the way that I think will be more effective to some, is saying when you get a revelation, it should inspire a revolution in your life. But that detail I got from somebody else, and because I actually spent the time to write that down and put that in a place where I can go to it when it's time for me to be able to give a lesson, when it's time for me to be able to coach somebody, it makes me as the communicator much more effective. So hoping that somebody got some value out of this. Much love. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will be having a ton of more content coming out here very soon, and I'm excited for it. So if you got anything for me, comment below. Much love. I appreciate y'all. Have a good one.